Previously on Bullshit Artists.
Deadbeat dad? Long lost love connection? We don't care. We'll help you find that bastard, living or dead. $49.95 gets you a full character search in the United States and beyond.
Flagstaff, Arizona? And hold on, drum roll please. He moved in with a Barbara Switzer, or Switzer. Yep, Flagstaff, Arizona. Go get him, Tiger.
So, in our previous episode, we learned that all of the poetry published under the pen name Jethro Spivey can be attributed to two men, Al Russo, who wrote up until his death in 1993, and the playwright Mason Jergen, who picked up writing the poetry after Al's death and continued until 2003. But all of the plays of Jethro Spivey, well, those were all written by another man, a man by the name of Dennis Kaye. And we've tracked Dennis Kaye across the country, and I believe we might be close to finding out if he's dead or alive and where he might actually be living. But before we get into any of that, I urge you to go back, if you haven't already, and catch up on the previous episodes. Start at the beginning, episode 1, and it won't take that long. They're not that long, seriously. Plus, they're a really good listen. Trust me on this. It'll just help illuminate some of the things that we're about to get into in the next few minutes. And we're going to reference some of these older episodes and some of the people we've heard from. Moving forward, we're getting close. Dennis Kaye is so close, you can taste him. Well, maybe you can just smell him. And I don't know about you, but it smells like victory to me. I'm Scott Gordon, and this is Bullshit Artists.
Hello, this is Rand.
Hi, Mr. McAnally. My name is Scott Gordon.
Oh, hello, Scott. I've never heard from you before. This is the first time we've ever spoken.
Okay. Rand McAnally is kind of a jokester. This is not the first time we had spoken to each other. About 30 minutes prior, I had talked with him, and I forgot to turn on my recording equipment. So I asked him to play along and pretend like we'd never spoken, which he obviously can't do with a straight face. But the reason I contacted Rand in the first place was because in the 80s, he was the owner and proprietor of McAnally's Bar, a place located a few blocks from Dennis Kaye's Baton Rouge apartment, and where one Barbara Switzer was employed during the early 80s.
Yes, Barbara worked at the bar from 1981 to when she left in, I believe, 84. Possibly 85, after she had the baby.
Do you know where she moved to?
She moved to Arizona?
Did she have any dealings with Dennis Kaye?
Yes, Dennis was quite fond of her. They dated for a while.
They dated? They were a couple?
Well, they were an item. Let's just put it that way.
Are you sure they weren't just friends?
Well, I don't think you'd have your hands all over your friends, us, during the middle of an Otis Redding song coming from the jukebox that you played.
Right.
If so, that's the type of friendship I'd like to become familiar with. I'm joking, of course.
So would you describe Dennis Kaye as a regular?
He would come in quite often. We were just a few blocks away from where he lived, and he and Barbara were very friendly. They were very friendly.
See, that is very interesting, because Dennis is a gay man, but most of his plays, now that I think about it, dealt with bisexual characters, so it kind of makes you wonder.
Well, I can tell you something that you didn't know. This was about 83, I believe, a year before Barbara left for out west. Dennis was in the bar, and he's over in the corner crying, and I'm like, Dennis, what's wrong? And he's like, I think I might have gotten her pregnant.
Who? Barbara?
Yeah, Barbara.
When did this happen?
Right after he ejaculated, I assume. But, you know, he impregnated her, and the child's name was... I don't know, I have to look at my notes. Name the lad Stephen. Stephen Schweitzer. 1983. Or thereabouts. She was good, too. Always a nice kid.
Can you describe what she looked like?
Yeah, she's about 5'7". She's a tall lass, and long black hair, real pale skin, little on the heavy side, but not so much that you'd kick her out of the bed, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. What was she like, personality-wise?
She was nice, friendly to everyone, perhaps a little too friendly to Mr. Dennis.
Apparently, in the mid-'80s, Dennis moved to Flagstaff as well. Did you hear anything about this, or did he mention anything about this to you before he left?
Well, I believe it was 86 or 87, a few years after Barbara had left. Dennis was in the bar and told, just in passing, mentioned that he was going to move out to Flagstaff with her. Be with his son. He wanted to get to know the kid. He was an arsehole, but he had made some strides. I mean, he wanted to be a part of the kid's life, and he didn't have any reason to stay. Apparently his job was something of the nature where he could work remotely. He never talked about it. I believe it had something to do with writing. He was a clamshell of a man, a closed book, if you will. Can't pry the pages open. I didn't really want to know about him. He was a weirdo.
Hello?
Hello, I'm trying to reach Scott Gordon.
This is he?
Hello, Mr. Gordon. I'm Anthony Kisovsev with Find That Bastard Incorporated.
Are you the same guy who does the voice on the ads?
I'm not at liberty to say, but we do have some news for you on your character search.
Ooh, excellent.
We've found your bastard.
Really? So you've located Dennis Kaye?
Not Dennis Kaye, but we did locate the last known address for a Barbara Schweitzer.
Oh, excellent.
That address is, do you have a pen ready?
Yes.
1804 North Turquoise Drive, Flagstaff, Arizona. Zip code 86001.
Thanks, I've got it. Well, I really appreciate it, Anthony.
Well, we certainly hope this information will be useful to you. And as always, thank you for using Find That Bastard Incorporated.
Thanks.
Good day to you, sir.
Okay. Wow. That was odd. The town of Flagstaff is an anomaly in the American Southwest. It doesn't resemble any of the desert towns or scrublands surrounding it. It's located up on the Colorado Plateau, and it's home to the largest contiguous ponderosa pine forest in North America. So it feels more like a town in the Pacific Northwest than one located roughly 60 miles from the Grand Canyon. And North Turquoise Drive exists in a neighborhood not unlike any neighborhood in small-town America. The houses are all modest cottages and one-level ranch homes, some manicured lawns, but nothing too fancy or out of the ordinary. So as I began looking for the address, 1804, I have a slow realization. All the houses are odd numbers, and they all exist on the western side of the street. Across the street is McPherson Park, extending for blocks and blocks in either direction. I walk across aimlessly to the spot where 1804 North Turquoise Drive should exist, but it's not there.
Fire.
I'm sorry?
This whole neighborhood burned down. 2003.
Wow, really?
You looking for the Schweitzers?
I am. Barbara and her son Stephen.
Yeah, they lived right about here. 1804. Not the year, the address.
Right. I'm Scott Gordon, by the way.
I'm Jim Swinson. I've lived up the street for about 30 years now.
What can you tell me about the fire?
Wiped out this whole side of the street. 10 houses.
Wow.
Just hopped from one to the other like a flaming frog.
Was anyone injured?
Well, Barbara died in the fire.
Really?
Yeah, Jethro was never the same.
So his name was Jethro.
Jethro Schweitzer, that was the husband. He was never the same after that. He would speak to himself. He'd sit in the house all day and watch cartoons. He turned into kind of a vegetable there. I know he lost his job.
How well did you know them?
No, I didn't know him too well. They kind of kept to themselves. Strange people. All I know is they moved somewhere in Utah. He took the kid, and they went up to Utah right after the fire, after Barbara's death in 2003. She hung on for a little while, but she was all melted. She looked like it was bad, yeah.
Where in Utah, do you know?
Can't say that I do, just somewhere in Utah. Once again, this was 15, 16 years ago, so...
So it's been a while.
Right.
So, apparently, at some point after moving to Flagstaff in the mid-'80s to be with the mother of his child, Barbara Schweitzer, Dennis Kaye began using the name Jethro Schweitzer. That's one unfortunate name, but it's understandable. Flagstaff is, after all, a small town. He wanted to appear as part of the family. He didn't want anyone to know about his past or his publishing career. So, Jethro Schweitzer. And I don't think that it's any small coincidence that the exact same year that Barbara Schweitzer dies in a house fire that consumes the entire neighborhood, 2003, is the same year that Jethro Spivey ceases publishing. This, it would seem, is the event, the catalyst, the unknown why. Stephen Schweitzer would have been about 19 years old when he and his father moved to Utah. That would make him 35 today. And I keep coming back to this recording. It's a recording I had ruled out earlier in the series, but it's of a 35-year-old white male from a Utah area code who uses a catchphrase that's eerily similar to something Jethro Spivey was fond of saying.
Jesus Christ, man. Maybe you didn't hear me the first time. There's no one here by the name of Dennis, all right? As far as I'm concerned, all your children can burn in a lake of fire.
And may all your babies drown in a lake of fire.
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 In a lake of fire.